Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're taking a trip back in time, all the way to ancient Babylon.
Ooh, Babylon.
But don't worry, no time machines required. We're
No.
cracking open a book, The Richest Man in Babylon.
A classic.
And yeah, I know the title might sound a little dusty, but trust me, this book is packed with timeless wisdom about building wealth.
Seriously, it's amazing how relevant it still is, even thousands of years later.
Right, like these Babylonians, they were onto something.
They knew a thing or two about money.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack those ancient secrets, figure out what we can learn from those Babylonian money masters.
And you know what's really cool is how they use these parables, these stories, to teach financial principles.
Yeah, those stories are super engaging.
They really stick with you.
So we're going to dig into those, pull out the most valuable lessons, the stuff you can actually apply to your life today, right here, right now.
That's the goal. Make this ancient wisdom work for us in the modern world.
Exactly. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, first up, the foundation, the cornerstone of the whole Babylonian wealth-building philosophy. Pay yourself first.
I love that principle.
Yeah, it's a big one, right? But what does it actually mean?
Well, it means that before you pay your bills, before you buy that new gadget you've been eyeing, before you do anything else with your money,
You set some aside.
you got it, you pay yourself.
Like literally put money into savings.
Exactly. The book actually suggests aiming for at least 10% of your income.
Whoa, 10%. That's a chunk.
It might sound like a lot, but trust me, it makes a huge difference over time. It's all about building that habit of saving.
You know, I was thinking about those Babylonians, like picturing them actually setting aside those gold coins.
Uh-huh. I can see it now.
It's almost like a physical reminder, like, hey, this is for me, this is for my future.
And you know, we can do the same thing today, even without the gold coins. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings account, even if it's just a small amount to start.
Yeah, automate it, make effortless.
Exactly. That's how you make it stick.
Okay, so we're paying ourselves first, building up that savings muscle. What's next on the Babylonian financial wisdom list?
Well, we've got to talk about controlling those expenses.
Uh-oh, budgeting time?
I know, not the most exciting topic.
But necessary.
It is, but the book makes it surprisingly interesting. They've got these really practical tips that are still relevant today. Remember that part where they talk about tracking your spending?
Yeah, like writing down every shekel you spend.
Exactly. And it's so true, you know? Once you start tracking, you really see where your money's going. You might be surprised by those little leaks in your financial ship.
It's like, oh, wow, I spent how much on coffee this month?
It can be eye-opening, for sure.
So tracking is key, but then comes the tough part, right? Actually making a budget and sticking to it.
Right, but the Babylonians have got some wisdom for that too. They talk a lot about distinguishing between needs and wants.
Ah, the classic needs versus wants dilemma.
It's timeless, isn't it? But they really emphasize being mindful about your spending, asking yourself, do I really need this? Or is this just a fleeting desire?
It's so easy to get caught up in those impulse buys.
It is, especially with all the tempting stuff out there.
But like those little splurges, they can really add up, can't they?
They absolutely can. But if you're conscious of your spending, if you prioritize your needs over those fleeting wants, you'll be amazed at how much you can save.
I'm already feeling more financially responsible just talking about this.
Me too. Those Babylonians knew their stuff.
All right, so we're paying ourselves first, we're tracking our expenses, we're getting mindful about our needs and wants.
We're well on our way to building a solid financial foundation.
And next, we'll dive into the fun part, making that money grow the Babylonian way.
Stay tuned for part 2, folks. We're just getting started. All right, so we've got our savings in check. We're budgeting like pros. Now it's time to make that money work for us.
Yeah, let's talk about investing, Babylonian style.
Yeah. Because those ancient folks, they knew a thing or two about making their gold multiply.
Make thy gold multiply, right? I love that phrase.
It's catchy, isn't it? But it's more than just a catchy phrase. It's about taking that hard-earned money and putting it to work.
So how did they do it? Did they have like Babylonian stock markets or something?
Not quite stock markets as we know them, but they have their own ways of investing.
Like what? Give us the ancient secrets.
Well, one of the key principles they emphasized was prudence, being cautious and avoiding risky ventures.
Ah, so no get-rich-quick schemes for these guys.
Nope. They were all about slow and steady growth, investing in things that had real value, like land, businesses, even livestock.
So like tangible assets, things you can see and touch.
Exactly. They understood that those things tend to hold their value over time.
Makes sense. So they weren't just throwing their gold at any shiny object that came along.
No, they were smart about it. And they also stressed the importance of seeking advice from those who knew more than them.
Like the Babylonian Warren Buffetts of their time?
Haha, exactly. They understood the value of getting expert advice before making any big financial decisions.
So basically they were saying, don't just jump into something blindly. Talk to someone who knows what they're doing.
Precisely. And that's still great advice today. Whether you're investing in real estate, stocks, or starting your own business, it always pays to seek out guidance from those who have already achieved success in that area.
It's like find a mentor for your money.
Exactly. Someone who can help you navigate those tricky financial waters.
So prudence, expert advice. What else did those Babylonians teach us about investing?
Well, they were also big believers in not putting all your eggs in one basket, diversifying your investments.
Ah, diversification, the golden rule of investing.
Golden indeed. And it's amazing how they understood this concept even back then. They wouldn't just invest all their wealth in one thing, they'd spread it around so if one area took a hit, the others could cushion the blow.
Smart move. So, like, how would a Babylonian diversify? What were their options back then?
Well, they might invest in land, livestock, maybe some precious metals, or even trade goods. It was all about spreading the risk.
So basically the same principle as today, just with different assets.
Exactly. And, that's a really powerful lesson for us modern investors. Don't put all your money in one stock, no matter how promising it seems. Spread it around, invest in different asset classes, different industries, even different geographic regions.
It's like, don't put all your gold in one chariot, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've learned about prudence, expert advice, diversification.
We're getting a pretty solid grasp on the Babylonian investment philosophy.
And I'm feeling inspired to put some of these principles into practice.
Me too. And what's really cool is that these ancient principles, they're not just about making money, they're about building a solid foundation for your life, for your future.
And that's what we're all about, right?
Absolutely. So stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore how the Babylonians thought about protecting their wealth and even increasing their earning power.
All right, we've learned how to save like a Babylonian, how to invest wisely, diversify our portfolios, all that good stuff.
We're practically Babylonian financial gurus by now.
Pretty much.
Bro!
But there's one more piece of the puzzle we haven't really talked about yet. Protecting what we've earned.
Yes, guarding your treasure.
Exactly. Because what's the point of building wealth if you can't hold on to it?
Absolutely. The Babylonians were big on safeguarding their hard-earned gold. They knew that wealth, once gained, could easily be lost if you weren't careful.
Yeah, like that story in the book about the guy who loses all his savings because he didn't own his own home. Ouch.
Right. That one always hits home. It's like, yeah, having a place of your own, it's not just about comfort and stability.
It's about having a solid foundation for your wealth.
Exactly. It's a tangible asset, something you can control.
And it can appreciate in value over time.
That's right. It's like building a fortress for your financial future.
I love that analogy, a financial fortress.
Mm.
But, protecting your wealth, it's not just about physical assets, is it? It's also about making smart choices with your investments.
Absolutely. The Babylonians were all about avoiding risky ventures, being cautious with their money.
So, like, no gambling away your gold on chariot races.
Haha, exactly. It's about doing your due diligence, researching those investments, making sure they're solid before you commit your hard-earned money.
Makes sense. So we're protecting our assets. We're making wise investment choices. Anything else those Babylonians can teach us about guarding our treasure?
One thing that really struck me was their emphasis on having a long-term perspective. They weren't about get-rich-quick schemes or chasing the latest fads.
They were in it for the long haul.
Exactly. They understood that building true wealth, it takes time, patience, and discipline. It's like planting a tree.
You've got to nurture it, let it grow.
Precisely. And that's a really valuable lesson for us today in a world where everything seems to move so fast.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, the instant gratification culture.
It is. But the Babylonians remind us to slow down, be patient, and focus on the long game.
So it's not just about guarding our wealth, it's about cultivating it, letting it grow steadily over time.
Exactly. And there's one more piece of the Babylonian wisdom puzzle that I think is really important. It's about increasing your earning power.
So it's not just about saving and investing wisely, it's also about making more money in the first place.
Right. The Babylonians understood that the more you earn, the more you have to save and invest.
And the more you can build that financial fortress.
That's it. So they were big on developing skills, learning new trades, finding ways to increase their value in the marketplace.
This is like always be learning, always be growing.
Exactly. And, in today's world, we have so many opportunities to do just that. Online courses, workshops, mentorships, you name it.
It's like we have this whole universe of knowledge at our fingertips.
And the Babylonians, they would be all over it. They were lifelong learners, constantly striving to improve themselves.
I bet they'd be crushing those online courses.
Ah, no
So
doubt.
it's not just about managing the money we have, it's about expanding our potential to earn more.
Exactly. It's about taking control of our financial destinies, becoming the masters of our own financial empires.
I love it. And it's amazing how much we can learn from these ancient Babylonians, even thousands of years later.
Their wisdom truly is timeless. It's like they had this deep understanding of human nature, of the principles that govern wealth and success.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest lesson is that financial well-being, it's not just about luck or circumstance. It's about making conscious choices, developing good habits, and taking a long-term perspective. It's about building a life of abundance, not just in terms of money, but in every aspect of our lives.
Beautifully said. And if you're listening, I encourage you to check out The Richest Man in Babylon for yourself. It's a quick read, but the lessons it contains are truly profound. Who knows, it might just change the way you think about money and success.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.